Good evening. Abraham Lincoln here. This dispatch lays bare what many refuse to name, and once seen, it cannot be unseen. I shall read to you this article. It is called Trump 79 Flaunts Cankles in Front of World Leaders, written by Erky Forster. President Donald Trump put his swollen ankles on full display as he held talks with world leaders to walk back his threats to seize Greenland. The 79-year-old president met with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte during the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland on Wednesday. But as he sat down with Rutte and members of his cabinet, Trump's pants crept up his shins to reveal enlarged ankles bulging over the tops of his shoes. I confess, the image described here troubles me deeply. When the President of these United States sits before foreign leaders, he represents not merely himself, but the dignity and strength of our entire republic. That such intimate details of physical decline become matters of international notice speaks to a profound failure of both personal discretion and institutional guardianship. The extent of the elderly president's swelling was particularly noticeable in photos that showed the other officials' ankles. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's ankles looked stick-thin in comparison to Trump's. Trump's cankles followed him onto the World Economic Forum stage and into meetings with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Swiss President Guy Parmelin. The White House announced in July that Trump had been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, a condition common in seniors in which blood pools in the legs due to poor circulation. Here we arrive at the heart of the matter. The White House has acknowledged a medical condition that affects the president's basic physical capacity. Let me be plain, this is not a matter for ridicule, but for sober constitutional reflection. When the executive branch itself confirms such limitations, we must ask, what other infirmities remain undisclosed? Trump's swelling may have been aggravated by a turbulent trip on Air Force One, which was forced to make an abrupt return to Washington, D.C. on Tuesday night following an electrical issue on board. His second departure, just after midnight, is thought to have added almost 3 extra hours to his journey. Cameras on Wednesday morning captured a visibly tired Trump very slowly descending Air Force One stairs onto the tarmac in Switzerland. Further footage of him walking up a red carpet at Davos shows the president breathing heavily and struggling to tread in a straight line. Consider this: the presidency demands not merely mental acuity, but physical stamina sufficient to bear the weight of continuous crisis. When our chief executive struggles to walk a straight line on the world stage, what message does this send to allies and adversaries alike? The office tolerates no weakness that might compromise the execution of our national interests. Trump is unlikely to have worn compression socks on the plane. In a New Year's Day interview with the Wall Street Journal, Trump said he tried compression socks but stopped because "I didn't like them." He said that he was trying to get up from his desk more and walk around, which doctors recommend to reduce swelling, but dismissed exercise other than golf as boring. If you value plain speaking, subscribe, but I have not finished. What we witness here is a man who refuses medical intervention because he finds it disagreeable, who dismisses prescribed exercise as boring. This is not the conduct of one who takes seriously the physical demands of leading a nation. The presidency is not a comfort to be enjoyed, but a burden to be borne with discipline and sacrifice. Trump and his aides told the Journal that the swelling in his legs had improved. but photos from Wednesday appear to show little change in his cankles since last year, when the Daily Beast cataloged both the swelling and the White House's apparent attempts to obscure it. Now we see the machinery of deception at work. The administration claims improvement where photographic evidence suggests otherwise. This pattern of concealment strikes at the very foundation of democratic accountability. When those who serve the people deliberately obscure matters of presidential fitness, they betray the trust upon which our system of government rests. When reached for comment, White House spokesperson Liz Houston told the Daily Beast in a statement, "President Trump is the sharpest, most accessible, and energetic president in modern American history." While the deranged and failing Daily Beast pushes baseless conspiracy theories, President Trump is dominating on the world stage and brokering historic deals to advance the interests of the American people. This response reveals the depths to which our public discourse has fallen. Rather than address legitimate concerns about presidential health with dignity and transparency, we are offered bombast and personal attack. Such language demeans not only the office, but the American people, who deserve honest accounting from those who serve them. Trump, the oldest person ever inaugurated as president, has also displayed a persistent purple bruise on the back of his right hand, which the White House has attributed to vigorous handshaking combined with aspirin use for cardiac prevention. However, the handshake defense lost some credibility in December when Trump's left hand began discoloration as well. Trump has faced increasing speculation surrounding his physical and cognitive health in his second term, and he now finds himself facing the same kind of scrutiny that haunted his predecessor, Joe Biden. The president's rambling address to the World Economic Forum on Wednesday, in which he confused Greenland for Iceland and appeared to forget he is president, sparked calls for his cabinet to take the keys away from him. This is not merely about this article. It is about what we are becoming as a republic. When our highest office becomes occupied by those who cannot remember their own position, who confuse nations on the world stage, who require assistance with the most basic physical functions of leadership, we face a crisis not of partisanship, but of institutional integrity. I have witnessed this nation through its darkest hour, when brother took arms against brother, and our very survival hung in the balance. In those days, the presidency demanded every ounce of physical and mental strength I could summon. The office broke lesser men, and it was meant to. For in a republic, leadership is not an entitlement, but a sacred burden that must be borne with full capacity and unwavering dedication. The American people deserve leaders who stand without assistance, who speak without confusion, who serve with bodies and minds equal to the weight of their responsibilities. When we accept less, when we make excuses for decline, when we attack those who raise legitimate concerns about fitness, we diminish not only the presidency, but the very idea that competence matters in democratic governance. Let this be our standard moving forward, that those who seek the presidency come before the people with complete transparency about their capacity to serve. No campaign promises can substitute for basic competence. No political theater can mask fundamental unfitness. And no party loyalty should blind us to the simple truth that democracy requires leaders capable of leading. The republic our founders envisioned demands nothing less. Good evening.